Jackson had always lived a life of structure. His days were defined by meticulous planning, from the blueprints he studied as a civil engineer to the quiet evenings spent with his wife, Catherine, in their Newport home. Their life together was a carefully crafted routine, punctuated by shared meals, predictable conversations, and the comfortable silence that comes from years of companionship. Jackson felt safe in this predictability, yet deep down, a longing for something more pulsed beneath the surface. Everything shifted the night Mason knocked on his door. Mason was his neighbor, a photographer with an easy charm and tousled hair that always seemed to be dancing in the wind. There was a certain magic in the way he saw the world through his lens, capturing fleeting moments that others often overlooked. Jackson was intrigued by him, drawn to his creativity and the way his laughter seemed to brighten even the most mundane days. But despite this admiration, Jackson never imagined that their lives would intertwine in the way they did that stormy evening. It was pouring rain when Mason arrived, seeking help with a leaky roof. Jackson, ever the dutiful neighbor, invited him in, the sound of rain drumming against the windows creating a cozy atmosphere. As they entered Jackson's home, the flickering lamplight cast playful shadows against the walls, creating an ambience that felt intimate and charged. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth, and the warmth radiating from their bodies felt electric. Jackson's heart raced as Mason brushed against him, steadying himself on Jackson's arm. The moment felt suspended in time, and before either of them could think, their lips met in a hesitant yet urgent kiss. It was a collision of emotions, a release of pent-up desires that unraveled years of certainty in an instant. The kiss was soft yet fervent, igniting a spark that neither of them had anticipated. In that fleeting moment, the world outside faded away, leaving only the two of them, wrapped in a cocoon of passion. What began as a simple act of kindness quickly transformed into something much deeper and more complicated. Their affair was slow and consuming, characterized by stolen moments in Mason's loft and hidden glances across their fences. Each encounter was charged with a mix of excitement and trepidation as they navigated the delicate balance between longing and fear. Mason's laughter became Jackson's escape, a balm for the guilt that clawed at him, reminding him of the life he had built with Catherine. In Mason's loft, the walls were adorned with breathtaking photographs, captured memories of places and people that spoke of love and adventure. Jackson often felt like a character in one of those images, lost in the beauty of the moment. Their bodies tangled in passion, they explored the depths of their desires, whispering sweet nothings that hung heavy in the air. Every kiss was a promise, every touch a declaration of the love that bloomed between them, despite the shadows lurking in the corners of their hearts. But guilt was a relentless companion, gnawing at Jackson's insides. Catherine, blissfully unaware, continued to love him with quiet devotion. She would cook his favorite meals, surprise him with small gifts, and offer him the kind of support that only a partner of many years could provide. Jackson hated himself for the deception, for the betrayal of the vows he had made. It was a conflict that tore him apart, leaving him feeling like a stranger in his own life. Mason, sensing the weight of it all, made a decision that Jackson couldn't. One evening, as they lay entwined in bed, their bodies still warm from their shared intimacy, Mason's voice broke the silence. "I've taken a job overseas," he said, his tone steady yet tinged with sadness. Jackson's heart sank at the words, realizing the implications of Mason's departure. It's beautiful, but it's breaking you." Jackson didn't stop him. He couldn't. The thought of Mason leaving felt like a knife to the heart, but deep down, he knew it was the right choice. Mason deserved a life filled with authenticity, free from the shadows of guilt and secrecy. Jackson held him tightly that night, memorizing every contour of his body, every sigh of contentment. It was a bittersweet farewell, a moment etched in his memory as the last time they would share such intimacy. When Mason left, the ache that settled in Jackson's chest was unbearable. For months, he was haunted by the ghost of their love, memories replaying in his mind like a haunting melody. The world felt dimmer without Mason's laughter, and the weight of their shared moments pressed heavily on his heart. Yet, amid the pain, Jackson slowly began to find his way back to Catherine, not out of guilt, but with genuine affection. He started to see her in a new light, recognizing the strength of their bond and the love that had weathered so many storms. Their marriage, tested by an invisible tempest, grew stronger. Jackson learned to love Catherine more deeply, to appreciate the life they had built together. He found solace in her presence, comfort in her unwavering support. They began to reconnect, sharing new experiences and rediscovering the joy of companionship. Jackson realized that love could take many forms, and while his connection with Mason had been intense and passionate, his bond with Catherine was rooted in something equally profound. Years passed, and life continued to unfold in unexpected ways. Jackson found fulfillment in his work, pouring his energy into his projects and earning the respect of his colleagues. He and Catherine began to travel, exploring new places and creating new memories together. The laughter that once felt distant returned, filling their home with warmth and happiness. Then, one evening, an invitation arrived: Mason's photography exhibition. Jackson's heart raced at the thought of seeing him again, a mix of excitement and trepidation flooding his senses. He had thought of Mason often, but the memories had softened into something bittersweet, a reminder of a chapter in his life that had shaped him profoundly. The night of the exhibition, Jackson entered the gallery, his eyes scanning the room for a familiar face. The walls were adorned with Mason's stunning photographs, each piece telling a story of love, longing, and the beauty of human connection. Jackson felt a wave of nostalgia wash over him, memories of their time together flooding back with each image he encountered. As he walked through the gallery, he caught sight of Mason. He looked unchanged, his presence still magnetic, yet there was a knowing softness in his gaze that spoke volumes. Their eyes met across the room, and in that moment, it felt as though time had stood still. They exchanged a quiet nod, a silent acknowledgement of the journey they had both taken since that stormy night. Jackson felt a surge of emotions: joy, sadness, and an overwhelming sense of gratitude for the time they had shared. Their connection had been profound, a force that had altered the course of their lives. Yet, he also recognized the beauty of where he was now, the life he had built with Catherine, and the love that had blossomed in unexpected ways. Before Jackson left the gallery, a gallery assistant approached him, handing him an envelope. Puzzled, he opened it to find a black and white photograph. Their old street, his house in the distance, bathed in the soft glow of twilight. A note was scrawled at the bottom in Mason's familiar handwriting: "Some people are meant to change us, not stay forever." Jackson exhaled, pressing the photo between his fingers. The weight of Mason's words settled in his heart, a poignant reminder of the impact he had made on Jackson's life. He looked back one last time, catching Mason's gaze across the room. There was no regret in that moment, only the quiet understanding that love, in all its forms, had shaped them both. As he stepped out into the cool evening air, Jackson felt a sense of peace wash over him. The ache of longing had transformed into a quiet appreciation for the love he had experienced. He had learned that love could be fleeting, yet profound, a force that could change the trajectory of one's life in ways that were both beautiful and heartbreaking. In the days that followed, Jackson carried the photograph with him, a tangible reminder of the journey he had taken. It served as a symbol of growth, of the lessons learned, and the love that endured. He often found himself reflecting on Mason, grateful for the way their paths had crossed, understanding that some connections were meant to teach us about ourselves and the capacity of our hearts. And so, Jackson continued to embrace the life he had built with Catherine, cherishing the love they shared. He found joy in the simple moments: a shared laugh over dinner, the warmth of her hand in his, the comfort of knowing they had weathered storms together. Their relationship was no longer defined by the shadows of guilt. Instead, It was illuminated by the light of understanding and acceptance. As time moved on, Jackson would often glance at the photograph, a reminder of the love that had shaped him. He had learned to appreciate the beauty of life in all its complexities, understanding that love was not a competition, but a tapestry woven from the threads of many experiences. Each relationship, each moment of connection, contributed to the rich fabric of his existence. The storm that once raged within him had calmed, replaced by a sense of serenity and gratitude. Jackson had come to understand that love, in its many forms, was a journey, one that could lead to unexpected destinations. And while Mason may have been a chapter in his story that had closed, the lessons learned and the love shared would forever remain a part of him. As he walked hand in hand with Catherine through their neighborhood, Jackson felt a profound sense of belonging. He had embraced the life he had chosen, one filled with love, laughter, and an appreciation for the beauty of connection. The echoes of the past had transformed into whispers of gratitude, guiding him as he continued to navigate the intricate tapestry of life. In the end, Jackson realized that love was not about possession or permanence, but rather about the moments that lingered in the heart. It was about the kisses shared under the stars, the laughter that filled the air, and the way two souls could touch one another in ways that transcended time. And as he looked into Catherine's eyes, he knew that he had found his place, not just in her heart, but in a world filled with love, one that would continue to evolve and surprise him with its beauty.